Okay, just trying to warm up, loosen up. The air conditioner's got me tight. Anyway, can you guys hear me? Where'd it go? Can you hear me, guys? Anyway, I think I was going to change things around a little bit from now on. In the afternoon, I'm going to start doing one surface exercises, hand exercises, stick control formulas, substitutions, referencing. So what I'm going to do at nighttime, instead of just one surface, I'm going to take that to a drum set application. How's that sound, everybody? Hey, Mr. Ed, what's up? How are you? You got the PDFs, right? As everybody's starting to find out, my primary source from teaching is the stick control book. I just totally respect, worship, and adore George Lawrence Stone. Hey, Joe, how are you? All right, so what we're going to do today, uh, we're going to, I guess, reference off the stick control book. And I know that Joe and Ed are seasoned players already, and they're also instructors as well. So, there's not a lot of explanation to do here for them. But, guys, excuse me, for those who do not understand what I have to explain what I'm going to do step by step. So, for people who are not familiar with this kind of approach nor concept, will understand it. So, guys, just kind of bear with me. So, we're going to take the stick control book and we look at the page 5, line number 1. And on line number 1, it's written as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the way it's being presented. I just played it in half strokes on one surface. So now we're going to interpret that a little bit different. Instead of straight up and down, which I call it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, we're going to interpret this as swung. So now, to swing the eighth notes, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it gives a little bit of an opening. I'm going to an eighth note triplet count, and I'm not playing the and of the triplet. The interpretation is on the downbeat, it's the first note of the triplet, and on the and, it's become the da of the triplet. How you doing, Paul? So what we have is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and will now become swung 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so to better understand it a little bit more, make it a little clearer, let's move down to line 3 so you can see that or hear a little bit better. Line 3, page 5 in the stick control book, line 3 is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and no problem. We're going to swing that. So now we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, I was thinking of line 5, which I'm going to next. Line 5, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We understand that so far. So now we swing line number 5. That would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay? Now, what I do with this particular approach or concept or whatever you want to call it, I look at the stick control book, the first line, page 5, and I'm interpreting it I'm thinking of it swung. So I eliminate the lefts. So the right's going to give me, I just played the rights for line 1, would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I just interpreted line 1 swung, but I did eliminate the lefts. I go to line 2, do the same approach. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and line 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and line 5, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so that's the interpretation. And as the lesson's entitled, Stick Control Using Triplet Fill-ins. So you could assume or call this a linear line because we're on one surface. We're not going to be playing the bass drum nor the hi-hat until tonight. And by the way, Paul, tonight's lesson is on YouTube. So I'm going to be doing a lot of YouTube lessons as opposed to my site for a little while because I'm having my site reconditioned or reconstructed, or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, what we're going to do, line 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're going to fill in the remainder of the triplet to, what is this? We're going to fill in the remainder or the balance of the 8th note triplet, which you can say, oh, look at this. These pop-ups get me crazy. We're going to fill in the balance of the triplet. So you could say this is a linear concept because it's a straight line of triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now notice that my right hand was a free stroke at all times because I'm accenting it. And the left hand's a little bit lighter, so I can make that distinction well. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's a linear line. I didn't break a line of triplets. Yeah, I accented the 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm accenting the rights. All free strokes. Okay, we go to line 2. Now, the right hand's going to shift over to the da. I'm taking line 2 and I'm interpreting line 2 as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and So now I fill in the blank, or the blanks rather, of the 8th note triplet. Nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and no problem. Again, line 3. It's written 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're swinging it 1 and 2, 3, 4. We interpret it, we eliminate the lefts, and that just gives me the rights. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and right now this is being presented to you from the stick control book. You can do this with the syncopation book, or you can do this with a melody line, which that's the perfect result of something like this. But right now it's a hand conditioner. It's just a different way to approach the stick control book. So now we're going to do line 3. We're going to fill in the blanks. 1 and 2 and, 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay, now let me just hit up to line 5. Line 4 is just the reverse of line 3. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and swung. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you're eliminating the left, so you have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now you're filling in the triplet. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now what we're going to do now is do line 5, and then we're going to go back to line 1, and we're going to play 1 through 5 over and over again with the metronome. Once you understand each line individually, then you challenge yourself, line 1, line 2, line 3, so on and so forth, until you can do the whole page without a mistake. All right, line 5, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Swung. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and eliminating the lefts. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. Now filling in the triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and boom. So that covers up to line 1 through 5, and I'm sure you don't want me to do like 1 through 72. It's the same thing, the same process, line by line by line. Each line has its own personality or character or reasoning. So from this point, and I have all seasoned players in here tonight, or today rather. Mercy. Okay. Is there any questions at this point? Because I'm going to go to the metronome, and we're going to hit first, let's say 100. What I need, gentlemen, is a response. If there's any questions, yes or no. A Y for yes, an N for no. So please, help me out a little bit so I can continue, or perhaps revisit what I just said 1 or 2 or 3 lines. Any questions? Y for yes, N for no. Knock, knock. Okay, Ed, good for you. Me and my hands are tight. This air conditioning's killing me. I need to have it on. I'll be sweating like a maniac. All right, no questions from Ed. How about you, Joe, rather, and Paul? Any questions? Good, Joe. All right. Paul, if you have a question, step forward. All right, I'm going to stay with line 1 for a little bit. Let's see how this works out at 100. Actually, let's go to 72. 72 is a comfortable place. For me, anyway. That's the pulse. That's the quarter note. So we have 1 and 2 and 3. Line 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 2, 2, 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. 2. Line 3. 3. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 4. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2, 3. Here you go, line 5. 1. Now I'm going to do line 1 twice. I'll do it once, and I'll go to line 2, up to 5, then back to 1, 2, 3, 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. That. 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the pop. Now, what I like to do, who's this? No thanks. No questions, no thanks. All right. What I like to do, it's a good hand exercise, and that's all it is right at the moment. I'm not thinking of any melody line or any hit with the trumpets in a big band or guitar players in a rock band or whatever, or a blues band or whatever you might say. It's just a hand exercise. It's an interpretation. And that was at 72. So let's up the tempo a little bit. See, like I said, tonight I will be doing a drum set application to this lesson. You know, I want you to try to be creative as possible. You know, I have my ways. I'm set in my ways. I have my limitations. And my ideas, and all new ideas are most definitely welcome. You know, I'm not trying to prove anything by doing these lessons or trying to say, I have the fastest hands in the world. Believe me, I'm far from that. And it's not very important to me, as long as I understand the music and I complement the music that I'm playing at the moment. So now we're at 72. And like I said, you can refer to this as a linear concept or just a hand exercise. And you can do it in the syncopation book, or you can make up your own figures. You know, ba-da, ba-da, ba-ba, ba-dee-beep, whatever you want to do. All right, I'm going to up the tempo a little bit to 100. Now, when you're playing in a room where it's ice cold, and I need to have it cold, because I have lights on, and if I don't put the air on, it's very, very hot, and I become sweaty and disorientated. So I'm going to try it at 100. Now 1, 2, 3, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, line 2. Three. 1, 2, 3. 5. Now, that's a pretty moderate tempo. You want to get faster? Fine. I wouldn't recommend getting faster until you could challenge this particular concept or exercise from 1 to 72 without a mistake. If you have the metronome, for example, on 100, you have the stick control book open, so you want to do 1 to 24 without a mistake. Example, if you did from 1 to 9 and made a mistake, start again, because 9 is going to come back. And when you get to 9, don't make the mistake and continue. Every time you make a mistake, go back to the beginning. Once you get it down, put your timer on for 8, 9, 10 minutes and a tempo that you feel comfortable with, and lay it out on one surface. It's a great hand exercise. I have a ton of variety of interpretations of the stick control book. And it's not a unique thing, because there's a lot of great instructors out there who have their approach, their concepts, and their ton of interpretations of stick control book. Stick control book is an endless, endless book. And I will say this until the day I die. Everything you need to know about drumming, technically, Okay, is on page 5, 6, and 7. No problem. George Lawrence Stone comes from a symphonic or a classical background, and he comes from the school where there's only three rudiments: singles, doubles, and flams. All right, and all other rudiments are combinations of those three. And what they're considered today in today's drum community is hybrid. Whatever you want to call them, fine. But let's not take George Lawrence Stone for granted. George Lawrence Stone was one of the founding fathers of the NARD. That's National Association of Rudimental Drummers. And if you have the book, the NARD book, so to speak, he and Sanford Moeller and a lot of great teachers, the WFL, the founding father of the Ludwig Drum Company, all were members. Who's this? Excuse me, Elsa. Welcome. This is your first time. Good for you, Elsa. All right. That's Elsa just put a comment in the chat that they're studying the stick control book the way I do it. Well, the way I do it is the way I was taught by I wish, Joe Morello. And Joe Morello, man, to me is one of the greatest technicians, hand technicians ever. And but he learned from George Lawrence Stone. This is just carrying it over, if I can. Okay, you said another thing here. What is that? All right. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Let me finish what I have to do. There's a question in the chat. How do I approach the molar stroke? Well, all right. Let me deal with that. Number one, all this language that's out there, the molar stroke, the Stone method, the Adler system, is all a bunch of nonsense. On Facebook there was a group called the Molar Group or whatever, and my first comment was there is no such thing as molar. Boom, I was eliminated, banned, flagged, and barred from the group. Okay. Now, I don't teach or play molar. I don't teach nor play stone. I teach the laws of physics. That's a natural way of playing. I allow the stick to do what I tell it to do. I don't prevent it from doing anything else. I've been playing for 1,000 years. I have no injury to my hands whatsoever. Now, the molar stroke, I have no idea what it is. And I'm going to do this for about 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to get this over with so I can help you out. You need to just drop that molar system or Stone or Adler. What this is natural. It's the laws of physics. For every action, there is an opposite reaction. I'm going to explain the sticky heights in a second. For example, when I throw my stick down, the opposite reaction is for the stick to come up. Simple. That's not molar or anybody else. That's the laws of physics, the laws of gravity. Every action is an opposite reaction. Bang! It came back. I let the stick down, I threw it down, I followed it back, and I stopped it. If I didn't stop it, it'd be flying on the other side of the room. So there is a control stroke there. That's a free stroke or a full stroke. It's not a molar stroke. This nonsense like this, I have no idea what that is. And if you hit a drum like that, I think that the other musicians are going to fire you. And you only can hit a drum so hard. there reaches a point where you hit it at its I can't use the scientific terminology. You'll choke the drum. Okay, and also when you are stroking, if you hold the stick tense or tight, you're going to have a problem, and that problem is going to come up soon with you if you keep playing like that. That's going to be carpal tunnel syndrome or tendonitis. Your hands have to be relaxed. You have no squeezing, no pinching, nothing. Just throw the stick down, for example, that's a downstroke. And I let the sound project outwardly. If I came up from the full stroke position to the downstroke position and grabbed that stick tight, all right, I would prevent the sound from going outward. Sound is vibration. I'm preventing the stick from vibrating. I throw the stick down, I stop it gently, just enough so it stays there where I put it, and the sound goes outward. It does not shoot up into my arm. That's where the problem is. So the full stroke and the downstroke. Same in sound because they come from the same point. The free stroke or the full stroke, the downstroke. Same volume stroke. But the downstroke is right here. Because now I want to play a different stroke. Say a quarter stroke or a half stroke or whatever you want to call it. Lighter sound. Why is it a lighter sound? It's the laws of physics. The distance is not as great. Simple. It's like this. Here's a good example. If you're driving a car and you crash into a wall, I'm using this as an example. This is what I want to use. And you hit that wall from 3 feet away, there's not going to be so much damage. See it? But if you hit that wall from 100 feet away and you're going 100 miles an hour, there's a problem. And that's what this is. It's the laws of physics. I didn't create this. No man created this. This is the laws of physics. I'm stroking from one point. It's one volume. A lighter volume than this. Simple. Okay? And then as far as the arm stroke was referred to sometimes as the whip. You know, you refer to it as you want to refer to it. The arm stroke, you're going to choke the drum. The whip, you don't have time to do that when you're playing up-tempo. If I'm doing a triplet and I want to accent the first stroke, I'm not whipping like this, pounding, and I want to play it light. There's a pumping motion that happens to the arm. Watch my right arm. 1, 2, 3. That's not a whip. That's a pump. I know that Ed, you were taught a different way or told a different thing, and I'm not disagreeing with that whatsoever. It's just that the language of drumming, the language of technique, the communication thing is all screwed up because it's not international. People get all confused. Joe Morello, George Lawrence Stone, never taught Moeller. Moeller never taught Moeller. He taught the laws of physics. See, where this whole thing gets all confused, the Moeller technique, the arm stroke and the whip, it all comes from the Civil War drummers. The Civil War drummer, that's who Sanford Moeller studied with, a Civil War drummer. And back then, I mean, I'm getting to the explanation again because I apologize. I've done this before to some of the gentlemen in here, but for the people who don't know, it's for his benefit or her benefit. And what it's all about is, you know, Sanford Moeller studied with the Civil War drummer. And they had these big field drums that had mule skin or calf skin, no tension rods. They were tightened with a rope, and they were subjected to the weather, and the skins would stretch or expand and contract, and that would change the sounds. So you have to understand, they are out in the field, giving signals to the men, attack, retreat, right flank attack, so on and so forth. And they're given the signals. So for them to give the signals and for them to hear, the soldiers or whoever to hear, they had to play very loud and have to play over the head like this, so on and so forth. And that came over into the traps or the snare drum itself as time progressed. And, you know, it was labeled such and such and such and such, and everybody interprets it different. You have to throw the name molar out. It's not molar, okay? You're trying to get that type to get those with molar. There is no such thing as molar. I'm trying to tell you that. You can call it what you want, but it's the laws of physics. Sir Isaac Newton discovered it. It's a natural way. Here, let me try to put some icing on the cake here. You get a little kid, knows nothing about molar or stone or whatever. Okay, and he comes into your studio or he watches you play and he wants to be just like you. So he gets the pair of drumsticks and he grabs the sticks like so. That's natural. All right? And he's sitting there and now he can do this. And if you notice him, he's playing from one point, the right hand and left hand. He has an equal sound, and you compliment him and you say, wow, that's really good. Then you say, hit one louder. He naturally brings the stick into the full stroke position and comes back down to this. That's not molar. That's natural. That's the laws of physics. You know, there's so many different instructors in this world and so many great instructors. And there's much more not so great instructors than there are great instructors. And I really respect everybody, but I really wish they'd get their shit together and they really teach this thing correctly. It's nobody's system. It's the laws of physics. Plain and simple. This is what you call molar. Here, a good example. I don't know if you're on this YouTube channel, you should be searching or streaming, or not streaming, but watching some videos. And be careful with that, because there's some great information out there, but most of the information is not so great. There's one, you should watch this one, okay? There's a video called "The Drummer's on the Wrong Gig," and you see him playing it with his hands like so. What that is a mock of the molar system. And it's like Morello said, if you continually do this, eventually you're going to levitate. It's not natural. You allow the stick to do what it's supposed to do because you control the stick. It's the level system, period. You play the level system, you're confused with it, and you call it the molar system. You got to throw that label away. Anyway, it's time for me to close down. What I need from everybody tonight, I'm going to be doing quite a few lessons on YouTube right now because my site and the streaming company that I use is a little bit under construction. So for a while now, I'm going to be doing this. Now, Elsa, would you like to be on my emailing list and get PDFs? Let me put my email. You email me. You email me and I'll send you the PDFs on today's lesson. And tonight I'm going to do a drum set application. There's a lot of people in here today. Okay. Of today's lesson on one surface. Do you have any questions, anyone, about today's lesson? Any questions? Hey, Paul, remember, tonight It's on YouTube. We're going to stay off the site for a little while. And Elsa, please email me and I will send you the PDFs. No problem, Paul. I know that we've done a lesson like this before, but I'm on YouTube now and I have a new kind of following, I guess. And the people that are here today, I think you and Ed are the only ones that remember this. We're going to do a drum set application with this one tonight. So if you're unable to view the lesson live, it's going to be on YouTube on my channel. It'll be filmed, as all the YouTube videos lessons are. So if you want, you could just check it out, subscribe to my channel, be nice, and let's make friends and talk drums all the time. All right, everyone? Don't forget now, if you want the PDFs, email me. Everybody have a good rest of the day, and I'll see everybody tonight, whoever would like to come, at 9:30 p.m. Hey, Ed, you have any questions? Everybody, you're welcome for saying thanks. See everybody tonight, same channel. Have a good day.